Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really tackling a big one. It sits right where cutting edge tech meets, well, basic resources. How is AI going to get the massive constant power it demands?
It's a fundamental question, really. The energy scale we're discussing for AI is, well, it's staggering. And the sources we've looked at for this recent industry reports, analyses,
Yeah.
they absolutely underline that.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Our plan is to use these sources to understand first just how big this AI electricity demand surge is, and then explore why nuclear power seems to be emerging so quickly as a potential answer.
Exactly. And we're not just talking hypotheticals. We'll look at specific projects from big tech, things happening now in 2025, plus shifts in U.S. policy that really signal a major turn.
Right. So the demand itself, where are we starting from? What do the numbers say?
Well, the U.S. Department of Energy, the DOE, reported that data centers, just regular data centers, were already pulling, what, maybe 4 to 5% of U.S. electricity in 2025.
And that's sort of the baseline before the AI wave really crests, isn't it?
Precisely. That's the key. The DOE projects that figure could jump significantly, maybe 6.7% to even 12% by just 2028.
Wow.
And what's really interesting is that AI tasks, like training models or running queries, can use something like 10 times more power per query than your standard apps.
10 times. Okay.
Yeah. And there was one paper from someone previously at OpenAI suggesting AI could need enough power for a small or medium U.S. state by 2028. And potentially over 20% of all U.S. electricity production by 2030.
20%. Just for AI.
Yeah,
That's powering tens of millions of homes. Puts the need in perspective.
it absolutely does.
So, okay, massive constant demand. Why is advanced nuclear specifically popping up as the solution people are turning to?
Well, if you think about it, AI needs that power 24/7. It can't really afford dips. Solar and wind are great, clean sources, but, they fluctuate, weather dependent.
Right. Sun doesn't always shine, wind doesn't always blow.
Exactly. And fossil fuels, well, obviously there are the carbon emissions concerns. Nuclear power, especially these newer designs we're seeing interest in, offers that steady, dense, carbon-free energy day and night, regardless of the weather.
And reliability is paramount for these systems.
Absolutely. Plus, modern plants have fuel that lasts decades, and they tend to produce less waste compared to older reactors.
Hmm.
It just fits the profile for these energy-hungry AI systems that need total stability.
And it's not just talk, right? We're seeing the tech giants actually making moves. What specific projects stand out from the sources?
Oh yeah, it's very tangible now. Microsoft, for instance, they struck a big deal late last year, 2024, with Constellation Energy. They're actually reviving a reactor at 3 Mile Island that was shut down.
Really? Reviving a plant.
Yeah, expected to supply 835 megawatts directly to Microsoft's Azure data centers by 2028. It's a 20-year agreement. They also dipped into fusion power, signed for 50 million from helium, also by 2028. That's much more experimental, but shows they're exploring, future options too.
In Amazon, they seem to be just as active. Didn't they buy land right next to a nuclear plant?
They did. March 2024, Amazon bought a whole data center campus literally next door to the Susquehanna nuclear plant in Pennsylvania. Cost them $650 million.
So they can just pull power directly.
Exactly. It's called behind the meter. Bypasses the public grid for that direct feed. They're already using 300 milliW and asking for more to expand. And they're also looking into new small modular reactors, SMRs. Those plans were announced October 2024. They're talking with utilities like Energy Northwest, Dominion Energy, planning for hundreds of megawatts from SMRs by the early 2030s.
Okay, SMRs, small modular reactors. That modularity being smaller, is that a big part of the appeal?
It definitely is. They're designed to be built faster, potentially closer to where the demand actually is, like a data center campus. It's a huge part of this advanced nuclear idea.
Makes sense. And Google's in on this too.
Yep. Google's looking at next-gen stuff as well. They had a deal late 2024 with Kairos Power for 7 microreactors.
Micro, even smaller than SMRs.
Exactly. Designed for really localized power. They're aiming for about 500 milliW total from those by the end of the decade.
And Oracle kind of went all in with an on-site plan, didn't they?
Oh, Oracle's plan is super ambitious. September 2024, Larry Ellison announced they'd secured permits for 3 SMRs to power a single data center campus.
Yeah.
Over a gigawatt capacity, all on site.
Wow. But permits aren't reactors yet, right?
Correct. They had the permits, but the actual reactor construction and getting the final regulatory green light, that's still pending. No SMRs of that specific type are operational in the U.S. just yet.
Okay, so lots of activity, some projects further along than others. What about the government side? U.S. policy in 2025, is it pushing this nuclear AI connection?
That's a really important piece. Yes, U.S. policy in 2025 is definitely acting as an accelerator. Just last month, May 23rd, President Trump signed executive orders for a nuclear renaissance. A key part requires the NRC, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, to approve or reject new reactor licenses within 18 months.
18 months, that sounds fast compared to how it used to be.
It's a major speed up, removes a big potential bottleneck. The orders also specifically favor small and advanced reactors, and they direct the DOE to actively find sites in every state, specifically mentioning powering AI data centers.
So the government is explicitly saying we need nuclear for AI.
Pretty much, yes. And back in April 2025, a DOE plan picked 16 federal sites, many at national labs, for fast-tracked AI supercomputing hubs. These sites often have existing infrastructure or room for SMRs. They're inviting companies to come build hubs with reactors and servers right there on secure land, ideally by 2026.
And there was legislation too, wasn't there? The Advance Act.
Absolutely. Signed July 2024, took effect this year, 2025. It further cuts licensing red tape, adds funding, tax breaks, all aimed at speeding up these small advanced reactors. Plus, you've got states getting involved. Wyoming, Idaho, Washington, hosting demonstration projects. West Virginia, Montana, lifting old bans on nuclear. Texas, Utah, pushing for faster micro-reactor approvals. The whole policy landscape is shifting.
Okay, so pulling it all together, what's the big picture here? We've seen AI's electricity demand is set to, well, explode. We've seen why nuclear, with its reliable carbon-free power, looks like a really strong fit for that specific need.
hmm
And crucially, we're seeing concrete actions, not just ideas. Major tech companies signing deals, buying land, planning reactors, and the U.S. government actively changing rules and directing resources right now in 2025 to link the two.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows how quickly this is moving. It's gone from just discussion points to actual contracts, site picks, and new laws, really, just in the past year or so. It's accelerating fast.
Right. So here's something to really think about based on everything we've just discussed. Will the sheer necessity of powering artificial intelligence become the main engine driving the future development and deployment of advanced nuclear power in the years ahead? Is AI going to be the reason for this nuclear push? Something for you to consider.